This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a winning edition of Meow Mix, a Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
Ba, ba, ba.
Yeah! Gotta love that. So good! Gotta love when the game ends with that song.
That's right. This is feels like forever since we were home and got a win.
Yeah.
It's a nice one.
It was a desperately needed win.
It was. Carolina Panthers 30, Tennessee Titans 20, and this game was never really in doubt.
No, not really. Unfortunately, with Ron Rivera's defensive scheme of soft zones, we let them hang in there way longer than they should have.
Yep, they had 7 points going into the fourth quarter, and the bend don't break goes extreme at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And they got 13 points in the fourth quarter. And I was watching this with a couple of friends at a Buffalo Wild Wings, not a sponsor, but if they want to be a sponsor, we'd allow it. And they were like, "Why are you upset that this game is won?" And I was like, I hate that the defense plays so well, and then they still get 20 points put up on them every week.
They shut them out in the first half. Completely shut them out. This
happens all the time, and it's completely game planning at the end of the games. But hey, let's not go negative.
No.
This is a great win. We moved to 5-3, which I believe is exactly where you had us in our preseason predictions.
I did. I had a couple different losses, but hey, we're here. 5-3. We're still in this hunt.
Yep. 5-3. Titans dropped to 4-5. Not really. Who cares about them? This is a Panthers podcast. We moved to 2-2 at home, so finally back up to 500 at home. And I think we could probably start this game talking about Christian McCaffrey.
What can you say that this stadium did not chant and scream loudly?
MVP. Yeah.
Yeah. After the game, they actually asked him if he heard it. I was like, how did he not hear it? Because, I mean, at home, it was clear as day. They were talking about it, on commentary. And he goes, yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like, yeah, that has to be feeling pretty cool when the whole stadium is chanting that for you.
Yeah. Well, he ended up with 146 rushing yards, another 20 yards receiving, and 3 total touchdowns. Unstoppable. And you knew he was eventually going to break a big one, and he did. He broke a 58-yarder basically to seal the game.
Yeah.
Just a great game from him.
He was doing really well anyways. He had like 50 or 60 yards in the first half. I mean, and it wasn't like big explosive plays. It's just him churning out yards. It's so impressive. And then he'll hit 1 or 2 of those, and it's just like, oh,
that's all he needs.
200 yards, 300. It's insane.
Yeah, it looked like, if you were just looking at the stats, in the first half, he was averaging, I think, under 4 yards a carry. But he was getting positive yards every time he touched the ball. And he just felt like it was going to happen for him. And it did. He broke the big one. But, DJ Moore had a good game. 7 catches for 101 yards.
Yeah.
A couple of nice catches, too.
Yeah, people keep wanting us to go out and get a receiver. He's been doing a really good year. He's having a great year.
He's had a good year. He's just not making huge impact plays, I think.
Correct.
And that's something Steve Smith talked about right before the trade deadline. He said that Carolina, the receivers are fine, but there's no number one receiver on this team, and I think I agree with him.
Well, there was one, you said no big plays. There was a 3rd down and 12 or 18. I can't remember the exact yardage, but it was a little dump off pass to him, and he scampered and he got it. And that was all him and some blocking.
And that's kind of what we got him for, right? He was that guy that when he catches the ball, he turns into a running back.
Yeah. And then he had a great catch along the sideline where he bobbled a little bit, but then toe tapped it in and got us to the 1 yard.
Yep, that was a great catch. And I didn't say he doesn't have big plays. I said he doesn't have huge impact plays. And in this game, man, no touchdowns, but he did have a couple of, big drive continuing plays. You're right there, for sure. I don't know if that previous to this game, if he's had that many. Yeah. But maybe this lit a little bit of a fire under him. I don't know. I hope so.
Well, then you got to look at Curtis Samuel, too. Curtis Samuel had 64 yards on 3 catches and 1 touchdown. He also had beat a guy, and it was a perfectly thrown ball by Kyle Allen, deep, and it was just a great play by the safety to jump up one-handed. He almost actually picked it off, which was amazing, but luckily he dropped it. That would have been a huge play, too.
Yeah, and I think there was another one where, maybe a couple other ones where Samuel had gotten open and was beat his guy, and it was just a bad throw from Kyle.
That was the first half. I think he missed 2 throws deep to Curtis Samuel where he got open. Yeah. He didn't start off great. His first quarter especially looked really bad.
Yeah, this was one of those games where you wanted to see Kyle Allen bounce back big from last week, where he just got the crap knocked out of him. And it did not look like at first that was going to happen. He threw an interception early.
Yeah.
He just really looked off, but he did kind of catch up to himself a little bit as the game went on, got the momentum going, and turned out, not a great day stats-wise, but he did what we needed him to do.
Yeah. That first interception on the second drive, it was thrown to Jarius Wright. Jarius Wright, it was thrown behind him. It was a bad throw, but Jarius Wright...
Well, it was tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, it was? I missed that.
It was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and then Jarius Wright tried to catch it, ended up tipping it himself.
Yeah, and he popped it straight up, and they got it.
That one was tipped at the line of scrimmage. So hard to really fault him for that one, other than to say, get the ball up a little higher when you release it, I guess. I mean, everybody gets balls tipped, so hard to blame him on that one.
I did not realize that ball was tipped. Yeah. I was upset at it being thrown behind Wright, but now that I know it's tipped, I wouldn't count that against him.
No. I know he did throw plenty of other balls behind the receivers that were not tipped. But yeah, that interception, I can't blame that completely on him. But his overall stat line, 17 for 32, 232 yards, a couple of touchdowns and 1 interception. So not great on the completion percentage. But again, he did start out pretty rough and kind of brought it back a little bit as the game went on. So, and Kyle, guys, get used to him because he's going to be around for a while, looks like.
There's a huge play I want to talk about right before the end of the first half where we ended up actually scoring a touchdown. We were backed up against about our 10-yard line or so. And this is something that you probably wouldn't have noticed, but I caught a check on it. Kyle Allen was in the shotgun formation. He called Chris Manhertz to protect his right side. He got the ball. This was 2nd and 10, I think, and he threw a little dart to DJ Moore, and it got the first down. If he didn't motion Manhertz around to the other side and make that block, they would have had a free end coming around and getting him. I know it was small, and I know that's a starting NFL quarterback should notice that. It was just a small little detail I saw that was really impressive. We continued the drive all the way down, and it ended up being that touchdown to Curtis Samuel. So, it was something like that could have easily been a very negative play, and then on 3rd and long, they probably wouldn't have passed it with, being conservative.
Yeah, definitely, learning protection and things like that's something he's going to continue to get better at as time goes on. And it's something that again, I had to tell my buddies when we were watching the game was like, this guy he's young. He's very young, and he's still learning how to play NFL quarterback.
He's younger than our rookie. He's 23 years old, and Will Grier is 24.
Yeah. With less starting experience in college. So,
yeah.
He's got a long way to go, but the talent's there. But yeah, it, um, I kind of wanted to mention Cam Newton did go see a specialist on his foot over the weekend. And although surgery was not recommended by the specialist, which I guess is a good sign, um, it is looking like Cam's going to miss several more weeks. So Kyle Allen is going to continue to get the opportunity. And, if he makes the most of it, we'll see what happens come week, 13, week 14. Not sure. I guess it really depends on what our record is and what the playoffs look like. But this could be Kyle's team for the rest of the season. It really could.
Yeah, I expect it actually is, unless Cam Newton makes a complete turnaround on his recovery, because it sounds like he's out till week 14 or so. And at that point, we'll be chasing for a wild card spot. And would you want to throw Cam out there with the rust and stuff like that?
Yeah, I guess it depends on maybe he can start practicing week 12 or something and, kind of knock that rust off a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the question, right? If you need to win a couple of games to make the playoffs, do you bring your MVP quarterback in to do it?
Well, at that point, what is our record too, and what has Kyle Allen done? I mean, he's 4-1. Yeah, he had the horrible game at the 49ers, but he's not been bad otherwise.
He's not been bad, but
he hasn't been great.
He's not been the reason we've been winning games.
No.
But he's not been the reason we've been losing games, which you could argue Cam was the first couple of games. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how that plays it out, throughout the rest of the season. You want to give a little bit of a shout out to Ron Rivera?
Yeah, he's done a great job.
He turned into a little bit of a riverboat Ron this week. It seems like that happens after big losses. He comes back the next week and, has a couple of fourth downs he goes for, and he went for the fake punt.
Yeah, ballsy call there. First of all, I'm going to go on record and say I do not like the call at all. I know it worked, and due to it working, we went down and got the touchdown, and honestly could have been a big momentum killer for them. So, I mean, yeah, it worked, but man, that's risky when we're up by 10 points at that point.
We were, but they had just come out in the second half and scored a touchdown on the opening drive.
By running straight up the middle on our defense, which is a weakness.
We knew it was going to happen. And then it was basically a 3-and-out, and we were punting the ball back to them. And, I mean, who knows what happens? They come down and score another touchdown. That's a 17-14 game. And, No,
you're absolutely correct. Yeah. And he made the right call because it worked. And Colin Jones, I don't know how he carried 3 guys with him 4 yards, but he did.
He did. And actually, Colin Jones had the option there to, if he didn't like the protection, to call it off and just go with a normal punt. So, there was a bit of a caveat there as to, we're definitely going for this.
Oh, yeah.
Colin Jones had the opportunity to audible out of it. But Colin Jones actually had in high school a 400-yard, 7-touchdown rushing game. So, he's had some experience toting the rock. And apparently he reminds Ron of that quite often. So, hey, maybe his natural position is running back, and that's why he's so bad at safety.
Yeah, I know. We make fun of him. He's just a great special teams guy. That's all he is. He should never play safety. Yeah. His role is as a gunner, to run down the sideline, tackle the guy. He had a good tackle too. I don't remember which punt it was, but he was all alone and he got him.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, great special teamers. Just scary when you have to put them at safety out there.
Right. Yeah. We hope that doesn't have to happen. Well, talking about the defense, I guess we can go into that unless there's anything more on offense you want to discuss.
No, actually, I was going to say, let's go to the side of the game or side of the ball that really won us the game again.
Yeah. Shaq Thompson had 11 total tackles, tied with Eric Reed, actually, for the lead in tackles. And we actually had a couple of interceptions this game as well. Trey Boston and Dante Jackson got back on the interception train. So I know you have a lot to say about maybe the lack of someone on this stat sheet. Because I don't see his name.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't see Spider Burns anywhere on this stat
Oh,
sheet.
yeah. Yeah, he had Tannehill wrapped up, too, and Tannehill's slippery, I guess.
Got out of it. I'm curious to see the snap count again. I don't know how much he was out there.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know what their thought process is, whether they're trying to bring him along slowly. Maybe he is a risk in, run defense. But
yeah, I don't know. It seems like he was getting a lot of run those first 5 or 6 games, and the last couple of games he's just been invisible.
Yeah, and if there for a while, I thought he had a chance at Defensive Rookie of the Year, but now he's just so quiet. Of course not.
Got to be something else going on. I mean, maybe they're just protecting that hand or arm. He had the surgery, so maybe they're just protecting that. But even without him out there, we still end up with 4 sacks. Dontari Poe got his first sack of the season. Marquise Haynes got a sack. Shaq and Eric Reed both had sacks. So Luke Kuechly was a little quiet this game, only 6 tackles, but he had a couple of big ones.
Yeah.
As he does. Almost had an interception too.
But you also have to give him credit for a lot of the plays anyways, because he's calling the defense out there. He's calling those plays. They made a comment on TV about, it's literally a chess match. Tannehill will call up play, and then Luke quickly turns around and yells at Eric Reed to get in the box and to get to the gap, and lo and behold, Eric Reed made the stop for a 1-yard gain. So
yeah. I mean, he's the general out there, definitely. Yeah. We also did have another turnover forced on Dion Lewis. He fumbled the ball and we jumped on it. So I think 3 total turnovers forced in this game. Only 1 given up.
Speaking of Eric Reed, he stripped that ball out.
Yeah, and Dante Jackson actually won the recovering it. So. Jackson was everywhere. Didn't give up too much, really. The stats are going to say we gave up 300 plus yards passing and 121 yards rushing. It really didn't feel like that.
No. In the first half, the Tennessee Titans only had 114 total yards.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The Panthers get up big, and they just let off the gas defensively.
They don't want to close. I don't know what it is why Ron Rivera wants to play this style and not close out the game. Put your foot on their throat and finish it off. It's just...
They did hold Derrick Henry to 63 rushing yards. He did get a touchdown. But per our beer bet of the week, congratulations. Yeah. They ended up with 121 total rushing yards, and I think our over-under was 115. And you called it exactly. Nice.
I did. I thought exactly what happened. I thought that the running backs wouldn't get it by themselves, but I thought Tannehill would break off a couple runs and get about 20 or 30 yards and break that barrier, and that's what happened. Unfortunately, one of those went for a touchdown.
Yeah, he had a 25-yard run there towards the end that sealed my fate on this beer bet. But yeah, Tannehill, he had a couple of interceptions. One of them was egregious, just a terrible interception. Threw it straight to Trey Boston. And then I think Dante got a tip pass interception.
Yeah, it was a bad throw. I think it was a bad throw, and their receiver tried to make a play. He popped it up.
Yeah.
And Jackson was there.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, see, A.J. Brown led receiving for them, 4 receptions for 81 yards.
Yeah, he looked good. I was impressed by A.J. Brown out there because he made some tight catches against Bradbury.
Mm-hmm. He actually blew by Bradbury one time towards the end of the game, and Bradbury just ran into him to stop the touchdown. And, of course, got the pass interference flag. But, Bradbury was beat.
When you're beat so bad and causing a pass interference prevents a touchdown, it's not the worst penalty.
Could have been worse. Could have been 7 points.
Yeah, exactly.
Adam Humphries, we talked about him a little bit in our preview.
Mm-hmm.
And he had 65 receiving yards off of 4 receptions as well. So didn't kill us like we feared, but he made an impact.
Yeah.
That kind of receiver usually does.
Yeah, he only had one big catch. Other than that, it seemed very minuscule when he made plays. I think it was towards the fourth quarter when he was getting the ball.
I think all of these stats probably look a lot better in the fourth quarter than they did in the third.
I agree.
So, any other thoughts?
There is one thing. James Bradbury left the fourth quarter with a groin injury. Lo and behold, another soft tissue injury. I'm telling you, this medical staff needs to be terminated.
Yeah, I need some questions answered by these guys.
Yeah.
McCaffrey also left the game after that last touchdown, and you could say maybe it was just because of where we were in the game, but he did go into the blue medical tent. I think they were probably looking for a concussion. Don't think I heard anything about him having one, but it's worth noting he didn't come out for the rest of the game. So
yeah, that's what I'm hoping though, is more precautionary, that we were up. They didn't feel the need to really run him, but still kind of makes you nervous when he goes into that blue tent.
Well, we talked about early in the season that if we lost Cam, our season was over.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't turn out to be the case, but we don't have another Christian McCaffrey.
Oh.
If we lose Christian McCaffrey, our season is over. Do not think otherwise. Bonifant is a fine player, but he is not Christian McCaffrey.
He looked good today in his few little runs,
Yeah, he had a 7-yard reception as well, so I don't know. I hope I don't have to see 20 carries of Bonifant anytime this season unless we've wrapped up a playoff spot.
Agreed. And I don't foresee that happening. I think we're going to be chasing a wild card spot until the week 17.
Yeah.
There's another player I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
Joey Sly.
Yeah.
He another field goal.
He did, and he also had a block.
I'm not counting the block. The block, you can't help the block.
Yeah. Yeah, he did miss a field goal. He's not doing too well.
No.
Accuracy was apparently one of the knocks on him coming out of college. A hell of a leg, could kick it a mile, but not always accurate. He started off the season red hot, and he's definitely cooled down a bit. So I still have faith in him, but when it comes to those big pressure kicks, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's making me nervous. Right now, he's 14 out of 19 for field goals. That's 73%. That's not good enough.
That's not good.
I will say 3 of those misses are from 50 plus, but
yeah, but still, he's got the leg to make those, and he's made 4 50-yard plus kicks. So I don't know. It's worrisome.
It is. I know we get Gano back next year, but I was hoping this kid would really pan out. I know you were too.
Yeah. And he's still got a chance. Maybe he catches fire again.
Yeah.
I hope
fingers crossed.
He's set there 100% from 39 yards in. And then it's really from 40 out that he's questionable. So I don't know. We'll see. Kickers are like anybody else. They can go through slumps here and there. So I'm hoping that he can get himself out of this and get back to being the Joey that I know he can be.
The Joey he can be. Good.
All right. Heroes and zeros?
Yeah, let's go with heroes and zeros. You can go ahead and take the lead.
All right. For the Christian McCaffrey Hero of the Game Award, I'm going to go DJ Moore. I think he needed a big game. Especially after being called out by Steve Smith, who once called him his spirit animal. I think he needed to live up to that a little bit. And to your point, he had some big catches, some impact catches. And even though I would still love for us to have a guy that I would consider a number 1 receiver, right now that's got to be DJ Moore. And he had one of those kind of games today.
Yeah. I agree. I can't argue that. He's looked really good, especially they seem to like him in those slants. And he seems to be beating the people when he gets in those slants too.
Yeah.
So yeah, good job. I've got a kind of a toss-up on mine for my Christian McCaffrey MVP award. Again, Christian McCaffrey always gets it.
Yeah.
But I am going to go with Shaq Thompson.
Okay.
11 tackles, 1 sack, 3 tackles for losses too. So
yeah, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's having a great year. Just really great.
Yeah.
I also want to give an honorable mention here.
Okay.
Someone who doesn't even show up on the stat sheet. Chris Manhertz. I saw him out there all game long protecting Kyle Allen, and he did a good job helping out that O-line, even though that O-line is still struggling because Kyle Allen was running for his life most of the game.
Yeah.
Just want to say, good on you for going out there and doing a very unpleasant job for a tight end.
Yeah, it's not glamorous, but he is a very important part of this team for sure. I did see I saw your boy Ian Thomas out there for one play, just letting a rusher go right by him. No wonder he's not out there more.
You're absolutely right.
Zero blocking ability.
If that's true, if he cannot block, then yeah, that's absolutely why he's not out there.
We did have Greg Dortch also finally active for his first game as a Panther, and you know what? He caught every punt,
and he looked solid. He didn't look indecisive when he had the ball. He just ran. Good on him.
That's all I want. Just catch the ball, man. Just catch the ball.
Catch the ball, hold on to it, go down if you need to. So another good honorable mention there.
All right, I started the heroes. You start the zeros.
This is kind of hard because all the players looked really good. So even though we complimented him earlier, I'm going to give this one to Ron Rivera again. Just because of his horrible soft zones, letting teams hang around in the fourth quarter. Stomp them out. It's repetitive. It's obvious that we play so far back on soft zone, they dip and dunk, and then we're gonna buck up in the red zone, and you don't because they've been tiring your guys out by having you chase them the whole series.
It's like when people talked about LeBron James can just flip a switch and play hard whenever he wants to. Well, no, you really can't. You know, you can't say between the 20s you're going to be letting them do whatever they want to do, but once they hit that 20-yard line, you're going to turn it on. It doesn't always work. And we saw that today.
Well, we saw
we've seen it a lot.
I was going to say against Tampa Bay too. That's why I'm giving it to Ron. Other than that, the game plan was good and everything, but he needs to learn that this fourth quarter time when you're up big, stomp them out, run the ball, and get it over with. Don't hang around.
Okay. I disagree with that zero, but I agree with everything else that you've said.
Okay.
My zero today is going to be Jarius Wright. 4 targets, 0 catches, 1 rush, -7 yards. Anytime you end up with negative yards on the stat sheet, you're probably going to be a zero, and he just did not show up today, really. Jarius Wright.
Pass too.
Yeah, so, he did. So, Jarius, you're my zero for the game. I still love you, and I'm glad you're on this team. But you didn't show up today.
No, that's a good one. I was struggling with the zero, and that's what really ticked me off about this game was letting them hang around. So that's why I gave it to Ron. But you had a good one there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ron going for it on that punt, even though you disagree with the call,
it worked.
I think in that point of the game, I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was super ballsy. I mean, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
So I couldn't give him the zero for that alone. But, yeah, I mean, I do agree with everything you said. You know, we let these guys hang around every week, and it has burned us in the past. Absolutely. Teams have come back and beaten us because of that. So, come on, Ron. You know, let's play hard for 4 quarters.
All right. Well, luckily with that win, Carolina improves to 5-3, second in the NFC South. New Orleans is top of the division at 7-1. Tampa Bay is now at 2-6, and Atlanta's at 1-7.
Yeah, only one other NFC South game this week. Buccaneers Seahawks.
Come on, Bucs.
That was a crazy game. This game went back and forth the entire game.
Yes.
Ended up going into overtime.
Uh-huh.
And Seattle pulls out a victory. We really needed the Bucs to win this game.
Oh yeah, and the Bucs had the game.
Yeah.
They were winning, and they were about to score again. They were in field goal range, and Jameis Winston drops back. He gets some pressure on him. He goes to throw the ball, and he fumbles with no one touching him. He somehow threw it behind him.
Yeah. They
pick it up and return it to the Bucs 20, and then score a touchdown and go up.
Jameis be Jameis.
That is, I was like, wow, that is Winston all over him.
Yeah, he giveth and he taketh away.
I've just never seen a player be like that before.
Shout out to Russell Wilson, 378 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. Only one rush, but a huge 20-yard rush to kind of seal the game in overtime or get them into scoring position. And DK Metcalf for Seattle, 6 receptions for 123 yards and 1 touchdown, kind of fulfilling that promise a little bit of a rookie receiver that had a lot of hype coming in.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a huge bust because he'd really never performed great in college. He couldn't change directions that well at the combine, and everybody kind of said, oh, his tape's kind of bad. But he looks really good in shorts, so I thought he was just going to be a combine bust. But he looks like he's going to be a solid receiver.
Yeah, he's got 402 yards receiving
on the season. That's great for a rookie.
Season. Yeah, and they're halfway through their season, so I think he's going to be fine. But yeah, this is by far his biggest game of the year, so. Yeah.
I do see his production dropping a good bit with Josh Gordon going there.
That's right. They did. They claimed Gordon off of waivers. I'm surprised he got that far down into waivers.
Yeah, I am too. I'm kind of surprised Carolina didn't put one in. Depth-wise, I mean.
I would have been okay with that. But I don't know. I guess a lot of teams are scared off by his history. And if he couldn't work in Belichick's system, can he really work anywhere? I have my doubts.
We will see.
Mike Evans, a huge game for Tampa, 12 receptions for 180 yards and a touchdown. And so 40 to 34 Seattle was the score for that game. So just a very entertaining game if you wanted to watch a 4:00 game.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah. All right, well, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the rest of Week 9.
Hey, Steven, do you think the Panthers are going to cover the spread this week?
You could ask me that any week, and I would say yes.
Well, if you're going to bet on a game, you should use MyBookie. It's the premier place to bet all your favorite pro and college football action every weekend. They always have the most up-to-date lines and most prop bets of any sportsbook on the planet.
You know, the best part is, if you join right now, MyBookie will double your first deposit. That's right. If you put $1,000 in, they will give you another $1,000.
Woo!
That's $2,000.
Yeah.
That's double your initial deposit. And you can use that on any of your favorite picks. Use promo code LATEFEES to activate the offer. That's promo code LATEFEES, LATEFEES, to double your cash.
Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid.
And we are back. All right, so let's take a look at the rest of the NFL's Week 9 slate. We'll start off with Texans at Jags. This was at Wembley Stadium in dear old England.
Cheerio.
Cheerio. Pip, pip.
Fish and chips.
You always say fish and chips.
That's the only English stuff I know. Cheerio and fish and chips.
Oh, man. All right. Texans win this game 26-3. Gardner Minshew, I believe, is regressing a bit. had a couple of interceptions in this game, but he did lead the passing stats with 309 yards. He'd have 2 interceptions. Deshaun Watson had 201 yards and 2 touchdowns. Carlos Hyde, great pickup for Houston. He had 19 carries for 160 yards. And Keelan Cole for the Jags led all receivers, 5 receptions for 80 yards. The Jaguars fall to 4-5, and Houston goes to 6-3.
Moving on to a game nobody really cared about or wanted to watch. The Buffalo Bills beat the Washington Redskins 24-9. Josh Allen led the passing with 160 yards and a touchdown. Adrian Peterson, reminiscent of his olden days, 18 carries, 108 yards. And Buffalo's John Brown led receiving with 4 receptions, 76 yards. Bills improved to 6-2, while the Redskins are still in the hunt for the first overall pick at 1-8.
I do want to say I think this was the Devin Singletary coming out game. He looked great out there. 20 carries for 95 yards and 3 receptions for 45 yards. I think he has fully supplanted Frank Gore as the lead running back for the Bills. All right. Sorry. He's on my fantasy team, and I'm excited about it. Moving on. Minnesota at Kansas City. This is another Matt Moore starting Kansas City game, and he got the win. The Chiefs win this game 26-23. Matt Moore did lead all passers with 275 passing yards and a touchdown. Damian Williams had a big run, ended up with 12 carries for 125 yards and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill had a couple of incredible catches. 6 receptions, 140 yards and a touchdown. Not having Mahomes in there has not slowed him down. Kansas City goes to 6-3, and the Vikings drop to 6-3.
Yeah, Andy Reid is such a great coach. He can game plan for anything. Matt Moore is looking like...
It's looking like Matt Moore when he was with us.
Like he's...
Honestly.
He's looking almost Pro Bowl level.
He's looking like Matt Moore of 10 years ago.
Yeah. And I just realized I keep getting the games no one cares about. Going on.
Hey, look, you got the first win of the season.
Moving on to the fish tank. The Dolphins surprise everyone and actually win a game, but it's against the lowly New York Jets, 26-18. I don't know if they meant to do this or the Jets purposely tried to lose so they could jump them in the draft order. Maybe it was Adam Gase trying to get back at the Dolphins for firing him, and he's like, haha, I'll get the first pack.
I forgot this was the Adam Gase Bowl. I forgot about that.
Anyways, Ryan Fitzpatrick had a really great game for himself. 288 yards, 3 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell, 17 carries, 66 yards. And Mike Gesicki with 6 receptions, 95 yards. Dolphins improve, I guess, to 1-7, and the Jets are at 1-7 too.
Yeah, that was... Talk about a game nobody cares about. All right, moving on. The Chicago Bears visited the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles pull out the victory 22-14. Carson Wentz led all passers with 239 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Howard, 19 carries, 82 yards and a touchdown. And Zach Ertz, 9 receptions, 103 yards and a touchdown. The Eagles improved to 5-4. The Bears fall to 3-5, and I'm telling you what, Trubisky is not long for this world in terms of an NFL career. He looks terrible.
You mentioned how bad the Bears are, but I want to talk about real quickly how good the Philadelphia Eagles have been lately. They start off really slow, and now they're at 5-4. They're only a half game behind us in the wild card hunt. I mean, they're a team that, they have a good roster, might be sneakily good towards the end of the season that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, this wild card, it's going to be tough for us to make the playoffs.
It really is.
Yeah. Right now Seattle is would be the first wild card team at 7-2. We really needed the Bucs to win that game.
Yeah. Moving on to the AFC, the Steelers beat the Indianapolis Colts 26-24. Jacoby Brissett got knocked out in the first quarter of this game, and Brian Hoyer could not lead the Colts over the Steelers. Mason Rudolph led all passing with 191 yards and a touchdown. Marlon Mack had 89 yards, and Zach Pascal led receiving with 5 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. The Steelers improved to 4-4, while the Colts fall to 5-3. And they, from what I hear, Jacoby Brissett may have a sprained MCL, so hopefully he can get back there. Otherwise, that AFC South may open back up.
Yeah, that's an injury that some people can play with. So I hadn't heard what the prognosis was for him. So that's interesting. All right, moving on. The Detroit Lions went to Oakland to play the Raiders. Raiders win 31-24, and the Raiders are kind of sneaky good. However, the leading passer for this game was Matt Stafford with 406 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs continues to look great as a rookie, 28 carries, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Kenny Golladay for the Lions, leading receiver, 4 receptions, 132 yards, and a touchdown. The Raiders go to 4-4, 3-1 at home, by the way, interesting. And the Lions fall to 3-4-1, and then they're pretty much out of it.
The Denver Broncos took on the paper champion Cleveland Browns and won 24-19. Baker Mayfield led all passing with 273 yards and a touchdown. Phillip Lindsay led rushing with only 9 carries but got 92 yards and a touchdown. And Noah Fant, rookie tight end, had 3 receptions, 115 yards and a touchdown. Broncos improved to 3-6, while the Browns are browning it now, 2-6.
By the way, the Broncos had a rookie quarterback in there, Brandon Allen.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 12 for 20, 193 yards and 2 touchdowns. Didn't have to be special, but just had to not lose the game, and that's what he did.
Is it wrong that I'm enjoying this colossal collapse by them?
I'm so enjoying it.
Okay.
I'm so enjoying it. My wildest dreams, I couldn't have thought that they would be 2-6, but I'm so happy that they are.
Oh yeah. I also heard that at halftime the refs went to Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham because they were wearing special Joker cleats, and one was wearing golden cleats, and told them that they had to change before the second half.
Wow.
Those cleats, they're 2-5 and they're wearing special cleats out there.
Well, who are you talking about?
Priorities.
Yeah. All right. And finally, we will go to the last game that we're going to talk about this evening. The Green Bay Packers went to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. That happens every once in a while. Chargers win this game 26-11, odd score. But Packers just didn't want to play this game, didn't seem like. Or maybe they thought they could go in and just easily win it. I don't know. But sometimes the Chargers are good, and today they were good. Phillip Rivers led all passers, 21 of 28 for 294 yards. Melvin Gordon finally had a fairly decent game for the Chargers, 20 carries for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Mike Williams led all receivers, 3 receptions, 111 yards. The Chargers moved to 4-5, and the Packers fall to 7-2. Yeah, Panthers opponent next week.
Yeah, they came out flat this week, so that means they're going to be on fire next week when they face us. So that's not good at all for the Panthers.
Early forecast for the game next week: 35 degrees and snow in Green Bay. So looking forward to that one.
Yeah. I will not be there, thankfully.
We're going to learn a lot about Kyle Allen next week, I think.
I think you got to just run Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that's his game. That's short passes.
But can we... we'll talk about it on Wednesday, but we're going to have to stay with the Packers offensively, and I don't know if that's possible.
11 points. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And the Chargers don't have an amazing defense or anything, so... All right. Well, I think that's about it.
Yep. And as always, thank you for listening. Please let your friends know about our show and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. We will read your comment on the show, or you could just email us a comment at meowmixmailbag@gmail.com.
We will be back on Thursday to preview Packers hosting the Carolina Panthers. Until then, everyone, keep pounding.